So we're good?
Yeah.
You already clapped us in.
Oh, I even wore a Cascaween shirt.
Like it was meant to be.
I tied it all together.
Outstanding. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Real Estate Makes Us Drink. Brian Quinlan here from Daniels Real Estate.
Brad Nickham from Nest Mortgage Group.
And yet another guest today. Sir, who are you? What do you do? Tell us about yourself.
I'm Brad Armstrong with Armstrong Garage Doors, and for some reason, I claim Brad Nickham as a good friend.
Yeah, I claim you too, Brad.
The nice thing for me on this show is I just have to say Brad, and someone will answer.
You know, the thing is we've elevated the Brads. You have to elevate the Bryans by bringing a Brian.
You're right. I don't think I'm going to have to work on that.
Do you have any Brian friends?
I do have some Brian friends.
I have a Brian friend. Brian Poole. He's a really good friend of mine.
Okay.
Hi, Brian.
Hello, Brian. Not sure if he's watching the show, but hello anyway.
Might be.
Well, cheers.
Cheers.
Welcome to the show, Brad.
Here.
Brad and Brad.
It's great. It's a giant cup you have there.
Well, I'm very thirsty.
Very thirsty. So what do you have in that cup, Bradley?
Cheap whiskey and Diet Coke.
All right.
That's what gets me through life.
For me, really.
Canadian Club.
All right.
The old blended, cheap Canadian whiskey.
You've been a Canadian Club guy for a long time.
Well, you know, it's a matter of economics. It's $21 a half gallon.
One time,
how do you beat that?
One time,
I enjoy grown-up. I do enjoy grown-up drinks.
Yeah.
I do, you know, when the time's right. We do that, but yeah, it's kind of hard to beat that.
he's got a
my
really
drink right
nice long bar at his house.
Oh, nice.
Beautiful setup. And I made one of those drinks at his house one time and thought, put all his money in the bar.
Exactly.
So it seemed I'm a fan of whiskey and Diet Coke, or bourbon and Diet Coke, or rum and Diet Coke. They all generally, no matter which type of whiskey you have, it all generally tastes the same. So go for the cheaper stuff.
I feel the same way.
Well,
about
the key
my
is
Stewart.
when you're cutting it with Diet Coke. Like I said, when you're being a grown up and drinking something nice, you want to taste
The
it.
Diet Coke makes it healthy.
Oh, for sure. It really does.
The Diet Coke brings it all
Yeah.
together. So
What other black magic cancerous crap that is in Diet Coke? Yes,
Exactly.
It tastes wonderful.
I mean, the only way I
There
think
you
you
go.
really could make it healthier is if a filterless Camel.
There you go.
You'll live
There
to
you
your
go.
90 if you do that.
So, this is the Health Minute show now?
Health Minute, yeah. We're going to have the Success Minute. This will
Right,
be the
right.
Success Hour.
We're gonna get into
Health
the
Minute,
Health.
Tequila Talk.
Yeah. Speaking of tequila,
Yes, sir.
what do you got over here, sir? You just opened this bottle.
I did. I'm really ashamed of myself for opening it because now to get drank.
Well, it's gonna get drank eventually.
This is a Cascaween Extra Añejo. This is incredibly hard to find, and it probably is not on the cheaper side of the Canadian Club, but it's absolutely delicious.
Less expensive in Tequila, Mexico, though. Correct?
I believe it was, yeah.
would
I
imagine.
kind of drank there before I bought stuff, so...
Some of them you're not sure what the price
and
was.
they were always in pesos, right? So what was confusing is Tony and I ate at this restaurant. Tony and I got street gorditas at a street stand in downtown El Renal, which is a little teeny town. And it said it was 84 pesos. It was $3 for all of it, for both of us to eat an entire meal. And then our hotel, everything said 1,600 pesos and 1,800 pesos. And we drank drinks and all on the room. And then when we checked out, it was $92.
Nice.
And these were like big breakfasts and dinners with steak, not like Ruben wouldn't have given me that price. at
Oh, you would
Tony's.
not. You wouldn't. I'm not sure one person would get out of Tony's for that amount of money.
Only if you had a drink. So it was, but then another place you'd go to and it was so many pesos and it was $30. So you're like, I don't know really the difference, but
I think we're
we
making
didn't really
up.
care. We had fun.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So this is an amazing tequila. If you ever see this in the store and you're a halfway tequila person, that's one to pick up.
Good to know. But bring your checkbook.
What do you have?
Well, today we're drinking from Metazoa Brewing Company from right here in Indianapolis, Llama Mia.
Llama
Yeah.
Mia.
Italian Street Festival of Indianapolis, and a little circle on the back says "Drink beer, help animals." So apparently, we're helping llamas today.
From the color of that, it looks like Maybe they caught it with a bucket underneath a llama.
Perhaps.
It's very yellow.
It is. It is. And
I think that llama's a little dehydrated.
needs more water.
Needs more water.
Now, if you ever had any experience with llamas, so I assume the normal way you drink that beverage is you take a sip and then you spit it on the person next to you in their face.
Probably. I'll avoid
I
that
really
today.
hope-
Llamas are a very spitting animal. They're not friendly.
Well, sometimes you just end up with a spitter, you know. That's just how it
Another
goes.
show.
I've never had a llama spit on me, but I have had one where, like, we were at a zoo or something, and it looked at me like, it's like I'm moving. I've seen this on a TV
Gonna
show
chew this
before.
up. It's coming at you, buddy.
I don't understand why people even have llamas. Like, I don't remember any of the history, where, they used a llama.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, obviously there's alpacas, but that's a different animal. They
Isn't
look
it
they look
similar?
relatively similar, and alpacas they use for the fur for blankets and clothing and things like
Okay.
that.
So
But
do they use a
llamas?
llama
I
for
truly
that?
don't
No.
know.
Hey,
If
what's
anyone
your
out
suit made
there,
out of? His llama.
anyone out there knows what purpose llamas
I believe
serve?
much like a donkey, in old times you pile stuff on its
Ah.
back and drag it somewhere. It uses
Carrier of
No wonder it
stuff.
spit at you.
It's they don't like it. Apparently they don't like it, so they spit at you.
He said service animal. That would be amazing. Excuse me, sir. No alpacas are allowed. Oh, this is a service llama.
Correct. Watch out, he
Yeah,
spits.
he spits. Yeah. No one gets a llama that's a swallower.
Sadly, no.
Oh, that's amazing. So before we dive into Brad,
Whoa, whoa!
there was some really pretty amazing news. that's come
Disturbing.
out. Disturbing, amazing. Kind of tells us where we're going, where we are. So we got the Fed minutes today. That was really the first
Now,
thing that started.
for purposes of editing and when this is released,
It's today. This is today.
today is what day?
I feel like it's a Thursday.
August 22nd. Okay.
August 22nd. So in the Fed minutes, one of the things we found out was in the July meeting, the Fed members would have cut rates. There was enough of them that felt that it was time, but when it came time to vote, they just got in line and all unanimously voted not to.
Okay.
But there was enough conversation that they were interested in removing or lowering the Fed fund rate. So we've seen better than expected inflation numbers. We've seen a huge jump in unemployment, which was really unexpected when you listen to what the Fed chairman talked about 2 days before that report came out. And then the revisions now have made it to where the labor market is a lot weaker than really what they thought the last time they spoke in front of us. So that's going to show that there's probably a better chance that we're going to see some changes by the Fed. Another thing in the Fed minutes they talked about was there's a lot of other things that are happening that they talk about. One of them being delinquencies. Highest amount of delinquencies that we've seen in over 6 years. That's people paying things late, right? Shelter lags in rents. That means they've continued to raise the Fed fund rate, and they've seen, inflation start to come down. But the biggest lag in that has been shelter. Rents have continued to stay high and not come down at the percentage that they want them to. And on top of that, we've seen housing continue to stay high. And the one that shows the most stress on the system is a greater portion of people are making the minimum payments on their credit cards than in the last 6 years.
That's not good.
No, that shows that people aren't making the amount of money they made and that they overstated their credit card use. So September, that's the next Fed chair meeting where we should see a drop. We have another unemployment BLS report, which I'm trying to figure out what the L stands for.
Losers.
It's the Bureau of Labor Statistics, but I have a feeling the L's needs to come out of there. So they overstated jobs from March 2023 to March 2024. They did a revision and they overstated jobs by 360,000.
Man, that's a lot.
So now they've done their July to July and they've revised that they overstated jobs by 818,000 jobs.
Wow.
And a lot of people say the BLS isn't political, but we've been overstating jobs for quite a while now. So that shows that our unemployment rate definitely is going to make a jump. Now, within those revisions, there's a section in there that breaks out government jobs, because, they are what they are. They're non-producing jobs, right? And I don't want all my government workers to get mad at me, but if you're in any government job, you really don't pay taxes. You really give back a portion of the tax money that you were paid.
Okay.
Because you don't create, right?
Yeah.
I mean, not as a teacher. You molded minds of mush, but it was tax dollars that come in to pay that business, and then you give back a portion of those tax dollars. So you paid your fair share of those taxes, but you see what I'm saying?
I do.
So when you strip out government jobs, the actual number for private sector jobs wasn't 818,000 jobs in this revision. It was 1.4 million. So the thing to think about is we hear our politicians, right now as we're in a political season, we're going to give you this and we're going to give you that. You got to remember where that money comes from. They take it from us and then they have to do with it, right?
Yep.
So just realize that when they say they're going to give it to you, they're probably not.
They're not doing
I'm just going to call that my humble but most accurate opinion. This is the second largest revisions of jobs in history. It's 5 times the normal amount, and on the private payroll, it's 6 times the normal amount. So that's how much bigger it was this time. The last time these numbers were revised down were 300,000. The last time they were near this bad, they were revised down 824,000 jobs, and that was in the year 2009. And if I'm not mistaken, that was kind of a miserable economy.
That it was.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
it was.
if you look at where we sit today with unemployment and growth of the economy, and it's probably a little more dismal than what it sounds like probably tonight on the television show that's going to be on later tonight.
There will be a show.
There will be a show. Now, there's a
Colts game? The Colts game? That the show?
That's going to be the most interesting one to watch. I didn't watch any last night. So
I haven't watched
don't
any.
know what happened. Yeah. So there's a slide up here. Another report that came out is existing home sales for July. And I found a couple things interesting on this. And the one piece of it that's interesting is 4 months supply, down from 4.1 months supply of inventory.
Yep.
And the normal market's around 4.6 months. And 24 days on market was the average. Now that's nationwide,
Yeah.
right? So you're taking bad markets and good markets into
Correct.
that. Homes that sold above list, it went from 24% to 29%. So homes selling above list actually went up. Now it's 35% off from last year, right? But last year was a better housing market than this year. But still, it went up. First-time home buyers, 29% of the market, still the same. Cash buyers went from 27 to 28%. And investors dropped from, they went from 13 to 16%. So it went up as well. So that's telling you that investors have got back in the market.
Yep.
It's telling you that cash buyers are still pretty heavy in the market. And it's telling you that it's gotten more competitive. So
Which is interesting because, I mean, I'm seeing kind of both sides of that.
I am too. I have a deal that's 5,000 under list with the seller paying all the closing costs, and 2 that are 25,000 over.
Yeah. I just lost out on a deal. There were 3 offers on it, and I'm sure it went over list price because we gave a full price offer.
7 offers made last week for me, and 1 purchase agreement.
Yeah. Now, the 4 month supply, for those of you in Indianapolis, that's not accurate here. It's less than that in Indy.
That's like in like 2.1.
Yeah, it's probably close to half of that. I haven't seen the exact number, to be honest, but I know it's definitely less than that. So that would mathematically mean we're in a seller's market here. But,
Now think of something else. We've seen interest rates actually come down in August.
Yep.
This report is July sales.
July.
So this is near peaking in interest rates, right?
Right.
So if you're waiting to get into the market because you think, it's going to get easier to buy a house, there's a looming housing crash.
Yeah, no, there is not.
It's time to buy a house now. Even though interest rates do look like they're going to come down, and we have this nice report here that tells us the Fed probably waited too long, which they waited too long to start. quantitative tightening. Now they're waiting too long to start quantitative easing, but
I feel like you've been doing some quantitative tightening.
I have.
getting
You've been
slim and
eating
all
all
that?
them ice cream cone things.
I have.
So if you look at the slideshow up here, there's a picture of you eating one, and then there's a picture of what I would look like right now. There you go. If I was eating as many of those as you are. I put that together just for you.
That's great. Shout out to my friends at 6 Degrees Snowballs. Yes, I got hooked up this week.
You're like chasing snowballs around.
It's just ice.
Yeah, the
and
sugar
sugar.
water isn't anything,
Ice
is it?
and sugar.
If you had tequila ones, I'd come with you.
Wow, well, you should bring it along with you.
I wouldn't want the ice in it though.
Just
All right. Well, that's all of the actual mortgage real estate business we probably should talk about.
Yeah, I'm totally fine with that because not much different than last time. Obviously that first stuff you talked about with the job numbers and all that. It'll be interesting to see how that affects the next month.
The Bureau of Line Statistics really made a big difference.
Lion statistics. That's actually a really good one.
Just came to me.
Yeah.
Like diarrhea. Like
That's
just
good.
Boom. Well, let's talk about Brad.
Oh, hello, Brad.
Hi.
And I've known Brad for quite some time now. We met through mutual friends.
Yep.
And it's another tie to racing. Brian still,
I see that on the cup.
Brian still doesn't believe it's a real sport, but he's coming around.
I am all in on this being a real sport.
No, he is now. At first, he was like, aren't they just turning left? Well, not on a road course.
Never once did I say those words. I have have always had high respect for racers.
Just
Go
because
on.
you're sitting between two of them right
Go
now.
on with your bullshittery, Brad. Where are you going with this question?
Know your audience there, Brian.
So when I was thinking of Brad, I was thinking, Brad can bring a lot to the show, right? One, we're going to answer questions of, should people service their garage door? And how often should that happen? And who do you call when it breaks? And then we could talk about a little bit of racing because he's got a huge background there. I threw a car up there. I found a picture of him when he was a race car driver, but it wasn't digitalized where it can be put on the internet.
They didn't have digital cameras.
Yeah,
Back
it was old. The guy kept going, hold still. And then there's a music connection as well.
Oh, man.
His daughter is a fantastic musician. She's playing full-time in Nashville, right? Playing all over the strip. So there's a good connection there. So Brad and I have
Where do we
got a lot of
start?
tons
symmetry.
of things in
A lot of
common.
symmetry.
And don't even get us started on, politics and, my once elected county councilman. So,
Man,
yeah. He's who got my road paved.
Yeah.
It's not.
nicely done.
He didn't.
Wow.
So
where do we start with all
well,
this?
let's probably start with the garage door piece. Like,
All right.
I have two Armstrong garage doors in here. You picked out this one. I
Yes,
didn't even
did
know
that.
I just said pick it out.
Yeah.
That's a really good
to be
one.
able to look over your pool area. And
Yeah,
have a little light in here.
It's
Brighten
fantastic.
things up a little bit.
He wants to sit here, have his beverage, and spy on Tony in the hot tub.
Exactly.
A lot of times I just leave it open and I sit on that couch and watch Supercross with the doors open. It's fantastic.
I see those photos on Facebook on the weekends.
So I don't know that I've ever really had them serviced. So do people need to have their garage doors serviced?
Oh yeah, you have to do it every second of it, like 5 times a year.
Five times a year,
Five
there
times
you
a
go.
year. No,
It's like fertilizer.
so
Seems like a lot.
So let me back up a little bit. So I've been in the garage door industry. I started our company in April of 1996, Armstrong Garage Doors. My wife and I, Tara, did. Before that, I worked for about 4 years for a small company in Greenfield. So been around the industry for a minute. And like a lot of industries, it's changed a lot.
Yeah.
We've started out where, back in those days, it was pretty basic, not a lot of choices. Sales pitches were pretty basic. Here you can get sandstone or white. That's your choice. And it's great industry, not a lot of glamour in it. There's a lot of money in it, but there's no big money in it. You got to grind every day, make your way every day. But it's made a good living for us doing that.
I would think it comes with its ups and downs.
Absolutely. It's standard fare there. Exactly. So, going through that timeline, we rolled through, like you said, several economic up and downs. 2008 2008 and 9 was, just a time where a lot of people had a lot of trouble, and the industry kind of changed a lot. And then we kind of got into the post-recession area there in the early to mid 2010s, and we had a lot of what I call bro culture businesses come in with a lot of new concepts, and basically kind of like everybody in the industry went to an HVAC seminar one weekend, and we all decided that we have to do everything a different way. So we're striving for a higher level of service, higher level of pricing and higher level commissions, and really that kind of goes back to, and I'm an old school guy. I'm an old guy. It's hard to teach me new tricks.
Younger than me, though.
So you get a little bit of, you don't pay your guys hourly. Everything's on commission. We get you in the door at a pretty reduced price, and we're not paying that technician until he jacks at least $1,000 ticket out of it.
It's almost like when you're going to get your car fixed.
So there's, you can put it. It's a model that obviously works well. A lot of people are doing well with it. A lot of people make a lot of money at it. But there's a fine line. You don't always need every service that's offered. And then sometimes it's priced at a level that's a little higher than it probably should be. So we're a lot more old school. I'm gonna come in and we're gonna do what you need. We're going to advise you, hey, this is something that might be a 5-year problem. This door may have, 2 years left in it. This door may have 15 years left in it. So it's good. It's good annually to lubricate your doors. All the moving parts, hinges and the pivot points, the rollers where they roll, the spring. There's. I
probably need that done.
Well, let me.
And typically. We always say they'll let you know when they need service, because they're going to start getting a little noisy, and that's your clue that, hey, we need to lubricate this thing and quiet it down.
So as a homeowner, and I'm sure that's a service you provide to people, is to come and lubricate those. If I were to take it upon myself to do that, what do you recommend be purchased for that?
There's a
service contract.
Service contract for $125. No, you want to use any of the lighter weight. There's a lot of products, you can find them at the home stores that are actually, garage door lubricants. We sell a product that Lucas Oil makes, Pro Door Lube, and I think it's like $8 a can. It's a good product. You can use pretty much any lighter weight spray lube. You don't want to use like black, heavy grease. It's messy.
No.
Tracks all the dirt, keeps the dirt in, makes the door run slow.
Lucas Oil chain lube.
Yeah.
That's a no.
That's a little thick. You want a thinner product.
Okay.
Thinner product. But yeah, and then obviously you run a door on a garage door opener. So a door works, you got this big heavy weight hanging on 2 strings. And then it's counterbalanced with a spring. And that spring's wound up, and it's got all its tension when it's down. And then when you lift it, the fact that you can lift a 400-pound door with just your hands is because this spring is counterbalanced. That's the most common thing to break.
So the spring is under the most tension when the door is down?
Correct. And that's why they normally break when they're down. It's very rare that a spring breaks when it's open.
Would have never thought of it.
Nah, not at all.
Yeah, it's sitting there all wound up, ready to go, waiting for you to come lift that door.
It's like our buddy Fred. He knows Fred. Fred's like that spring when the door's down. He's wound up and ready to go. He's just waiting on somebody to just lift him up.
Lift that door. I know
Fred.
Fred's that way.
So
that's good stuff.
The spring should also get the lube sprayed on there? Okay. All the same.
Well, it doesn't.
Can you get up there?
It doesn't extend the life of the spring, but it'll help it to run smoother and run better.
So what about like the chains and stuff on the garage door opener?
So one of the main things you run into is if it's a manual door, the door's getting heavy. But if the door's hooked up to an opener, a lot of time you don't know that the spring may be dying off a little bit and needs a little tension added to it. And that's one of the things we would do on a service call is check your spring tension. We'd also check all the fasteners for being loose and excessive wear on the hinges and the bearings, rollers, those items. Chain tension, it's pretty obvious on that. They'll start drooping when they get loose. Now, one of the most common things, like on a residential, like you get a Sears opener or Chamberlain opener. You can put that thing in yourself, and the guys will just crank that chain down so it doesn't have any slack in it, super tight. And then 3 or 4 years later, the bushing will blow out of the drive sprocket, and then the chain's loose. So it's loose, and they tighten it up some more, and they blow that bushing out a little bit more eventually until it fails. So yeah, I mean, there is a sweet spot there when you're adjusting. It's much like on a motorcycle.
It's kind of like setting up a dirt bike.
Exactly.
Yep. Kurt used to do that for me.
Hello, Kurt.
Kurt set a lot of stuff up for him too. That's going into the racing piece a little bit.
I gathered that.
But yeah, the bottom line, when your door starts making loud noises, you either want to be proactive and start lubricating that thing, or give us a call and be more than happy to come out.
What if you still have one of those big wooden doors?
Well, I mean, there's it's kind of funny. There were hardwood doors that were made in the 50s and 60s that are still in service that are in fantastic shape.
No kidding.
Because they use
old
growth lumber.
They don't make it like they used to.
And then into the 70s, you got into new growth lumber, and then you got into where you'd have a masonite inner and outer panel, and those all corrode and fall apart.
You did our doors years ago. We had our original door still. The house was built in 71, and that thing weighed a ton.
Oh yeah, the thing about wood doors, and it's pretty much there's fewer and fewer wood doors left.
Yeah, I bet.
They would gain and lose a significant amount of weight with moisture. So you'd balance that spring, and then you might come back in the springtime where it's really damp and really wet, and the door's super heavy. And then then you balance it for that, and you come back when it's real dry in the summertime. It's super hot.
Wow, that's fast.
And then the wood doors would also, the hardware would loosen up, because as that would expand and contract, it would loosen the hinges up. So like on a wood door, the end hinges are almost always loose. A steel door, we put those in. I come back 5 years later, and they're just as tight as when we put them in.
How about that?
Now, I would assume how much someone uses their door determines spring life expectancy.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
But is there like an average, or maybe just kind of an expected spring life?
So, like a standard door without any upgrades, it goes out as a new door will have a 10,000 cycle spring on it. So you can kind of do the math, how many times you're in it. Some households, that 10,000 cycles, they could blow through it in 3 or 4 years. We have a lot of the production homes don't have a service door, and they're using that as the entry door, and they're running 10 cycles a day. Well, you can do the math on that. You're going to blow through 10,000 cycles pretty quick.
You could teach someone to do the math on that, couldn't you?
One could, yes.
Because you used to be
Math teacher.
a math teacher.
Yeah, there you go.
Those playing along have to drink. That's a drinking game.
That was a forced shot right there.
Shot. Now, you'll have a lot of 2-car garages where you have a 16-foot door and an 8 or 9-foot door on the side. Like 2 to 1, that little door that's sitting there by itself, the spring will last twice as long because you open that door half as much.
Sure.
So, and then there's optional higher cycle springs that you can get into.
I think that's what you put on that one.
Yeah. And you just got to kind of buyer beware. If you're paying $1,000, like $1,000 and a spring change was $300, well, I could do that 3 times for this upgraded $1,000 spring. So you kind of got to watch, where you're at on that. What's the best value for you and how much you're using the door.
Much like the whiskey, sometimes more isn't better. You can get maybe
sometimes that $22 bottle of Canadian Club is all you need.
Yeah, so a less expensive deal will last you just as long. That was a fantastic segue.
Did we just transition into shots?
No, we're still talking about garage doors.
Okay, all right.
Look, we're gonna have a lot of ups and downs on this show, but we'll get through it.
All right, nice. New point of entry we need.
A new point of entry that would require a new door. I'm not putting in any new doors.
Ah, shucks. All right.
And I think mine are gonna last a long time now.
You should be good.
I hope so.
Well, you've got the setup here with the big door and the side garage and the glass door. You've got quite the setup.
Don't let him fool you, because this idea of adding this to our house stemmed from an evening at his house.
Oh, all right.
So
the entire garage?
Brad has one of the coolest barn houses I've ever been to. And it has a house, it has what I call the politician entertainment area. And then you have the racing garage
Nice.
with a really cool glass door that goes into all the race cars. And yeah, it's
We
phenomenal.
got a couple glass doors on our barn dominium. But
Yeah.
that was really a cool project, and it's really kind of taken on a little bit of a life of its own. So I bought this property, gosh, probably been 12, 13 years ago, and it's out by Kurt's place, out in Fountain Town. A little
Out
bit.
by Fred.
Yeah, out by Fred,
Hi,
Freddie
guys.
Nichols' hood, and so we're a little bit out, but close enough we can go to Indianapolis and drag as much money as we can back there to our little area of the world and spend it, and so I wanted to build a barn dominium, and I'd looked at some stuff and I had some ideas, and the first step I caution anyone that's wanting to do this is you got to do some selling, because you got to get your wife on board. But when you just whip out, hey, I want to build a barn for us to live in, it doesn't go so well the first time you sell it like that. So you really kind of got to put a little sizzle in the steak. Well, long story short, after about 20 different drawings and different revisions, so we built this barn dominium, really happy with it.
Phenomenal.
And it fits our lifestyle perfectly, and we really
100%.
love it. But kind of a weird deal. It's on a road that's fairly well traveled, and we started getting people just driving by slow, and then people come in and come in the
people
driveway.
knock on your door?
People come up in the driveway, and found myself. I talked to a lot of people about how we did this, all the pitfalls of building it. And there is. It's certainly a much different project than building a stick-built home.
Yeah.
I've had people ring my doorbell to ask questions about the addition.
Same thing.
It blows me away.
And I found myself, helping a lot of people with their projects. In fact, we even had a couple people I gave prints to, and they took my prints and modified them, and tweaked it and made it their own. But, it's kind of been something that I've really enjoyed, helping these people with this. I just tell them, don't forget me when it comes garage door time.
Right, yeah.
That would piss me off. I'm a nice guy, but I'm not that nice.
We did it. I wanted to just, I talked to Dave about building a house, and then he told me, 2,000 square foot's like $7 million. He's going to be on the show in a couple weeks, Dave Siegel is. So
there you go.
I'll get to talk about that. But then, so we were talking about just building a pole barn to put the motorhome in, and Tony said, well, why don't we hook it to the house? And you haven't met, well, you probably met Kurt.
Yes.
So that made a phone call to Kurt of, hey, can I hook it to my house? And he's like, grid it out.
Yes.
Does that sound like Kurt?
Grid it out.
And then I called Brad, and I'm like, who's your builder? And from there, that evolved to this. Even our floor idea, not the same colors, but the same type system.
Yep.
Brad had that in there. The bar idea came from Brad's. He's got like the coolest wood in the house part of his house, which is, it's like I'm going in a cabin in Gatlinburg.
Yeah, and
Sounds
that was
cool.
that was I was in a customer had a game room, and I saw that. So what it is, it's 12-inch, just rough sawn pine, and there's a company in Kentucky that makes this, and they distress it in a very every panel's unique. It's distressed, so it just looks like hand-hewn pine. It gives a very lodged feel, type feel.
Oh, so cool.
Yeah, we ended up down there in the middle of Kentucky with a 4,000 pounds of wood dragging
Oh my
it back.
gosh.
So no, we cheated, because the amount of wood that I have here, it probably would have cost me $100,000 to do that. So I was like, I'm going to do this cheap stuff, but it worked great.
Oh, it looks awesome.
But it's the same like concept.
Yeah.
So
So that sounds very cool.
pretty amazing. You got any questions, Brian? This is your quietest show.
I know.
Yeah.
I don't really have a ton of questions.
You're not a barn dominium enthusiast or garage
Well, no,
door
actually,
enthusiast?
I've only been in.
He's definitely not a garage door enthusiast.
I have 2 garage doors. My house was,
Do you enjoy driving in and out?
I like both of them.
one is not hooked up to a lifter simply because it's a third car garage.
Did you call it a lifter?
I did. Does it not lift the door?
Yes.
It's
Okay.
a garage door opener.
Well, I know, but I didn't get to that word. Anyway, it doesn't
That'd be
have
like
one
if you lived in one
because
of those
it's a
fancy buildings in
You
New
want
York.
me to talk, and here you are interrupting me.
I'm gonna interrupt you. That's like if you lived in one of them fancy apartments in New York, and you called the guy a door pusher.
Well, sometimes they push.
Sometimes they pull.
Exactly. Anyways, third car garage that we
Yes.
don't use for cars. So, it didn't need an opener.
There you go.
And yeah, the other one's fine. The house was built 7 years ago, so
There you go.
came with the builder. I have been in a barn dominium, and absolutely fascinating.
I mean, it's thank heavens we built this thing, and I completed it in 2018.
Yeah.
Because I never could have pulled this off.
There'd been another comma.
Yeah, no kidding.
Just one more comma.
Yeah. No, it is a great way you can get a lot of footage. When we started the project, the lenders were not friendly towards the project.
So
at
true.
all.
It's
That
a
was a
unique
bit of an
property.
educational
They're
component.
still somewhat
No,
considered
they're
unique
easy now.
Are they? Okay.
Because there's so many, Fannie and Freddie have
Okay.
accepted this 100%, and as long as you got at least one comp, you're good to go.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, I'll go to a question. I don't think you answered this. When you were young, Brad, going through school, you probably had a dream to do something with your life that may not have been garage door guy.
It wasn't.
How did you get to this? How'd you get into the business at the beginning, I
Okay.
guess?
Well, yeah. Young me always wanted to be a race car driver, and I started racing go-karts when I was 12. So
All right.
I've been in motorsports, most of my life.
Do you have any connection to any guys that have been good at it?
No, not at all.
That's a lie. That's a big fat lie.
So we ran. I ran for a local company, Comet Kart Sales, here in Greenfield. I'm sure a lot of people know them.
Mr.
And,
Dismore?
Raced for them back in the day, and I married my lovely wife, and I met her actually at Comet Kart Sales, and she worked there. And man, I had it figured out. So I was newly married. I was 21 years old. Had a race car.
Had a
I'd
hot
scrap
blonde?
drywall occasionally for Kurt's dad.
There you go.
But really wasn't working too much. And this mutual friend of ours, Vic Boyer, came into Comet Kart Sales and sees my wife. Says, "Hey, how's your husband doing?" "Oh, he's all right." And she said, "What's he up to?" "Oh, he's at home on the couch." So I'm looking for some help with
He's
my
at
garage door
home
company.
on the couch.
And,
That's a future race
and
car
my wife
driver.
said-
There you go.
He said, "Do you think he'd be interested in that?" She said, "He'll be there tomorrow at 8."
She signed him up. She filled out your
yeah.
W-9.
So the next day I showed up at 8 and started. And so that started. I worked for Vic, and he taught me the trade. Worked for him for a couple years. Veered out and tried to sell Chevys for a couple years. I went bankrupt.
That didn't
doing
go good?
That didn't go good.
Okay.
It did actually. In my life story. That was great to teach me about selling, dealing with public. I learned a lot of good life lessons. It just cost a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
That being on the draw thing. It wasn't.
Well, you had a
wasn't
draw?
good at
That
it.
was nice.
Oh yeah. And, had a little, just a little too much honesty maybe on the
Selling cars.
It's like, man, that's a dumb decision. Why would you be buying that?
Yeah.
You don't need that car. You don't need that
If I don't sell that to you, somebody's gonna sell it to you. You learn these lessons.
You never did that. Oh, that car looks really good on you.
Yeah, it does.
So I can remember this like it was yesterday. I was in Mahoney Chevrolet, and I went to my sales manager, and I was racing sprint cars at the time, and I wanted to race. It was mandatory. You had to work every Saturday, and you had one day off during the week. And I said, man, my race schedule came out, and there's like 5 Saturdays. I said, I can't work, and I said, I'll work my days off, but non-negotiable, I need these 5 Saturdays off, non-negotiable deal. And they said, Brad, with your sales, the sales you have and how you've been doing, we don't give a shit. You show up,
We'll call this
or
tomorrow's your
you're
last
not
day.
going to be working for us. So, fortunately, that pissed me off enough that it's like, hey, I know how to put garage doors in. And then Tara's dad, my father-in-law, he'd been self-employed his whole life. And he said, you really ought to do something on your own. What do you know how to do? I said, well, not a whole lot, but I know how to do this. And we kind of put I guess you'd call it a business plan today, but, it's more of a napkin plan. And so we started,
Sketched it out.
We started in April Fool's Day, 1996. So,
No kidding.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
He lent us $10,000, and I had to buy a van out of that.
Oh, dang.
And we started up and have been going ever since. So
Everybody needs that push. You know, if you,
That's exactly. And,
it's
you know,
a
at the
push.
time, and I guess that's really the life lesson out of it is at the time I was really upset, you know,
Right.
but it was, like you say, it was a kick I needed to get me jump started into doing something.
man, thank God I haven't had a job working for somebody for 25 years. I'm straight unemployable.
I believe it.
Yeah. But you're in the same, right?
Yeah.
You worked as
I'm
a teacher,
employable.
and then you are employable. You'd slip right back in there if you had to. But you get it, right? To having the freedom to have to work every Sunday is so much better.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
But you can take off that one Tuesday at 3.
Right? Yeah. You
Yep.
can. Although Brian, did he get snowballs during?
That's
the
right.
week?
I left my house yesterday at 3:00 because the snowball truck was only there till 4, so I had to go.
And I love Brian. I give him a hard time. I tease him a lot. But he's been to more golf outings this year than I've been to my whole life.
But I would say there are lots of realtors who do a lot more golfing than I do.
Yep. Yep.
So.
Yep. My son does a lot more golfing than you do.
Well, see, there you go.
Yeah. I just can't do it.
That's all right.
You think maybe we should slip into a shot here?
I do.
Okay, so dealer's choice. Our guest gets to pick. What do you want to do a shot of?
Well, I don't have any of this nice stuff, so I don't even know where to start. But you've got some really nice stuff up here.
Most of it's been left by people that have come to visit.
That's true. Brad only drinks this stuff. This is all left behind by others.
No, actually, I bought all that too.
Hey, we're doubling up on the old Smoky over
Well, I
here.
had to get rid
I
of-
know. It's because of shelf space, not because you bought
Tequila's
more.
coming around the corner.
I think
Holy cow! How did those shots of Woodford get there?
Well, magic of editing.
Man, our production team here, the
Top notch.
lighting,
Yep.
the editing team, the
Sound team.
sound
Yeah.
team's on it.
It's really I like the advanced team that comes up with our questions that we ask our
The
guests.
people that write this stuff,
Oh, no doubt.
Phenomenal.
The advanced team is where it's at. And then there's the post-production team,
amazing.
which does include Fred and Stephanie, who leave comments on YouTube. We could use more of those people,
I'd say,
however.
the dietitian and my workout guy.
yeah.
that's helping me.
Our health coach.
Our wardrobe people.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about
amazing.
those.
That's
Man,
amazing.
Sorry about that. Anyways,
You should do
Woodford
this, Brad.
Reserve.
This is a great job. So far, we have made zero.
No.
No, that's not true. We've made like $100 some.
No, I've done better than that from the moving guy.
Again, I've done nothing but bring things to the Brian party.
What can I say? People like me.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Woodford Reserve Double Oak.
Oh,
Woodford.
baby. Thanks to Alex Smith.
It's like that email came right at the right time.
So it did.
That's very caramely.
it's very nice.
Very caramely.
I'm gonna break in here with some breaking Brian Quinlan news. Yes. Yesterday I officially got hired to read an audiobook for somebody and get paid for it.
He did.
Well, you had nothing to do with that one.
I didn't.
But
I've given you encouragement.
that's correct. You have. You're one of my biggest supporters, and I appreciate that.
Yep. I'm like
But-
an athletic supporter for
Right.
Brian.
Yeah, just less sweaty.
2 straps and a bag.
Yeah, so I have till mid-September to finish the audiobook.
You know, when I said that, I was trying to think of where I heard encouragement from, but I remember now.
Yeah.
Couples Retreat. Oh. Remember Couples Retreat?
It's one of my favorite movies.
And the big Fabio guy, he'd go, encouragement.
Encouragement in it.
That was a great show.
Yep.
We should do a show just about good movies like that sometime. Because I heard you just watched Anchorman.
Anchorman and Step Brothers
Step
back to
Brothers,
back.
Had you never seen it?
I had not
He had
seen
never
them.
seen Anchorman.
Yeah, which is weird because I broadcast stuff, and so people were always amazed that I've never seen Anchorman, and I had seen bits and pieces here and there.
And now you know why you plan your trip with your wife before you go to Gatlinburg because of the bears.
That's correct. Definitely, you do not want to be near bears at certain times. And milk is not always a good idea.
Oh, milk's a bad choice. that is one of my favorite movies, except for the the battle scene that's like from the Beat It video.
Yeah.
That's the only scene that I was like, that's kind of, the rest of this show's great, but that part's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean,
That escalated quickly. Really escalated fast.
Yeah, I mean, the battle between networks is a real thing, but not to
Not
that
a dance
stupid
knife
extent.
battle,
Yeah.
Best line in the whole movie, though, for me, it's the pleats in the pants. There's nothing to see here. It's the pleats in the pants.
Yes, that's a good one.
That was a great one. All right, Brad. So we have more to talk about here.
But
I
wait,
don't know how you follow.
There's
that
more.
duo.
Hang on, there's more. You put a dog picture in?
I did. That's Haley.
So I put a dog picture
Yeah,
in. That's
yeah.
the one I
Nice.
picked of Lucy.
Uh,
She was hanging at the club the other night.
yeah, she was
Drinking Cristal
with 50 Cent at the club. No,
out of a bowl.
I threw my dog picture in there because my dog turned 13 this week.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
an old doggy.
Yeah, she's limping like an old dog. Arthritis is killing
Such
one
a
of her
bummer.
legs. It's a bummer.
You should give her tequila. Tequila makes everything better.
I was thinking about giving her just like some CBD or pot or something.
You should
Exactly. There you go, Haley. Here you go.
get in a contact high.
I didn't know dog pictures were required. I would have brought dog pictures.
I would have looked. I got the picture here. It's
Yeah.
a family picture from Hawaii. Look, it's
Yeah.
a little bit older though.
Yeah, we were there pre-gaming for the Nickham Marathon.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there you
We were
go.
there.
You should do it again in December. And you should update this picture. This is like a realtor face shot. That's been,
So-
it's
real.
been a while ago.
So, you know,
Your locks have gotten a little
we've
longer.
been around a minute, and we're very blessed that we've got wonderful customers. We've got a lot of work, and we really do our best to keep up. But I mean, we're pretty full. You know, we're
Sure.
pretty busy. So in the priorities, updating my 20-year-old
Face shot, your
face
head shot.
in there, it has kind of fallen. But yes, it's pretty. It's not good. It's
Well,
not
you know,
good. It
not-
could be better.
AI
it could
can
be
knock
much
that
better.
out for you.
Yeah, with these phones. I mean, believe it or not, this high quality program is brought to you by an Apple phone.
That it is.
Yeah,
Thank
and-
you, Apple.
Right side up this time.
Correct.
So there's a couple shots up here of a race car, and a lot of people might think it's a sprint car, but I learned that that's a Silver Crown car. Right? I learned the difference of that.
I would not have known the difference.
No, I knew you wouldn't. And there's a lot of racing heritage that comes from the Armstrong family. Brad's been racing for when? How old did you say
I
when
was
you
12
started?
when I
12
started,
years old,
so, and I'm
raced
54 now. So
and went from driving. Although I know Brad, if he had the opportunity to sit in that car and drive it today, and you thought you could do what you needed to do without getting hurt, you'd be right in there.
yeah, it's getting old sucks, man. I mean, you know, all the cool stuff you did when you were a kid, you just can't do it anymore.
It's because all of our brain things didn't hook together, and we didn't realize, oh, I could die.
Yeah.
Huh, that's correct.
So
No.
we've got to meet some great people with Brad, and I know his racing journey is pretty incredible. So share a little bit of the folks that you've been around and your
Sure.
journey of racing, because it's pretty deep. It's very cool.
Yeah, so like I said earlier, I started racing go-karts when I was 12 years old for Comet Kart Sales, and ran go-karts till I was 18. In that time, team driver with at Comet Kart with Tony Stewart. He went on to do pretty good things. He actually
He's kind of a big deal.
Big deal.
yeah, he actually, fun story, before I started the garage door business when I was 20, I had a tow truck business for about a year and a half, 2 years. And Tony actually worked for me driving a tow truck, driving a wrecker.
I bet he got cars back to the garage in record time. A little dented up, but they were there.
Our joke was, my joke was, because pretty quickly, like overnight, from like 95, he was racing with us, and then like by 97, he's pretty big time, and it's like,
Your
you
mentorship.
you guys probably, you probably could have been a pretty good record driver by now if this race.
If you'd have hung around. But think of the mentorship you were able to give him in the record driving that made him what he is today.
One of the reasons, I don't know, one of the reasons he is such an asshole is because of running around with my friends and working for me. I'm sorry about that to all the people that paid the price on that, but our
Tony.
mentorship,
Tony went to
yes.
the Brad Armstrong School of Customer Relations.
so
I know that not to be true.
So we roll out of there, and then we start running USAC sprint cars. In the 90s, there was Thursday Night Thunder was a pretty popular deal. They'd run at Raceway Park and Salem and Winchester, and we ran that series, and then did that for about 10 years, and then morphed into USAC has what they call the Silver Crown Series, which that kind of spun from when Indy cars ran on dirt and pavement in the 60s. The dirt portion of that, as they went to rear engine cars, kind of went away. Well, that series still stayed around, and that morphed into what's now the Silver Crown Series. And they run both on dirt and pavement now, but they look like a bigger sprint car.
Yeah.
They're a little smaller motor and a
little bigger
10-inch
body.
longer wheelbase, and a big tail tank so they can run 100-mile races. So I drove those. I drove both for quite a while, and then I retired in 2010, and then had a couple brief relapses in there, just nothing of any account. But then I didn't race.
I promise I haven't been drinking.
I didn't do anything for a couple of years, and then we got into. I saw the one car sitting around, and then we got into running as an owner and hiring drivers, and we've pretty much done that since like about 2015 on. So the last 9-10 years we've been running. We actually. And we're scaling back. We were hitting it pretty hard there, running the entire Silver Crown Series. And then we run a race called the Little 500 up in Anderson. That's really probably
Not the bike race in Bloomington?
No, it's in Anderson.
No.
He clearly said Anderson.
This would be the original Little 500.
Okay.
But yeah, it's they've been doing it. Well, what's the Little 5? I think it's like 1 year longer. So what is it, like 76 years? I think the Anderson Little 500 has been going probably 75 years for the Bloomington
bicycle
Little
race.
500.
Okay.
But it's it's kind of a crazy race. It's 33 sprint cars on a quarter-mile track with live pit stops. It runs the night before the Indy 500.
And there's been a lot of famous IndyCar racers race there,
a lot
right?
of guys have raced there. It used to be kind of, back in the day, it was kind of a stepping stone to there. But
Right.
now everything kind of goes through Formula cars and whatnot. But that's kind of my passion. We run that race. We've had we had a really fun run. We had Kenny Schrader run for us for like 5 years.
NASCAR driver.
I'm aware, yes.
And I could not have more. I mean, just a genuinely great human being. A lot of fun. We just had a ball running him in it. We had I think 3 top 10 finishes with him. So we keep doing that as much as I can. As I get older, it's tough to keep up with keeping the cars together and maintained and everything. So
And keeping up with the kids and the business.
yeah. I mean, you guys are self-employed. I mean, it all starts with you got to do your day job.
Right.
If
Yeah.
you don't do your day job and take care of it,
can't do your
all the
fun.
fun stuff goes away pretty quick. So that's got to be your priority. We do that.
I remember a race we went to. You had Ryan Newman driving the car.
Yeah, he and I actually raced with him, quite a bit in the sprint car days.
Another Indiana guy.
And
Yeah.
and he ran. We had kind of a co-op deal, my car and another guy's motor, and he ran for us a couple times. Ran good, top 5 every time he ran for us. So
I think.
yeah.
Let's see. I think he's in the Drivers Hall of Fame. Eric Gordon drove the car, right?
Eric Gordon was
Sprint Car Hall of Fame.
I don't know that one.
So Eric started racing before I started racing, even in the sprint cars, and then he ran for me in the Silver Crown Series. We had a 4th in points one year, running the whole deal, and he ran a lot for us, and then eventually had to retire. He got old like the rest of us.
Well, the moral to this whole racing story is go to Flow TV.
Yeah.
We don't have a sponsorship for them, but
yeah.
we would
Is
welcome
it FLOW or FLO?
one.
FLO.
FLO. Sign up for Flow TV, and I'm telling you what, you can find the
Yeah.
best sprint cars, Silver Crown racing, dirt stock cars,
Yeah.
Legends cars, you name it, all
Absolutely.
over the country. It's the best racing.
It's like $150 for the whole year. It's great value.
So worth it if you like to sit down and watch some racing at night.
Yeah.
So, quick real
Racing.
estate question in relation to that. Have you been to Tony Stewart's super mansion in Columbus that was like $30 million? And I'm
Still
not
for
sure
sale.
if it's, is it? Okay.
Still for sale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
he's been there.
Okay.
It's pretty nice.
He swam from the tank all the way through the creek out to the other side of the living room.
Excellent.
It's and if any of your realtor friends here, it's backlisted. It
Right.
had a reduction.
You'd
It's
take
at
a
22
referral
million.
fee on that,
So,
wouldn't
need to move it. We need to move it.
Yeah,
Come on, guys.
right.
You know, there's a lot of commission
Well,
there.
here's
Somebody
the
needs to step up and do their job.
Here's the downside. It's a cash-only purchase.
Well, no, you can
not,
get
I'm
a,
not sure you
you
can
can get a mortgage
conventional.
up to $3 million.
But I believe that they listed as cash only.
Because you can only get a mortgage up to $3 million.
Exactly.
But here's what I'm
There's only
thinking.
so many
Here's,
people that got
here's
kinda
what I'd
cash.
like to do, right? On this show, we would like to, kind of like a GoFundMe, if you will. Brad has been plugging away for years. He's got a phenomenal property. But I think if he got 25 million orders for new garage doors next month, he
Oh, we can
could buy
move down
that
to
house.
Columbus. Yeah, we move right down to Columbus.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Could you install that many garage doors?
No, not even close.
It's like we had the conversation a couple shows ago that 9.5 million people can refinance if rates drop to 5.5.
Really?
I can't do that many loans, but if I could, we'd buy a jet.
Yeah.
And
I don't
Tony's
know
house.
where we'd fly it to.
Tony's,
We'd go to Tony's, yeah.
which would then be
And
your
I'd be like,
house.
hey, smoke.
No, it's just a fabulous property. I mean, it's just
Looks like
everything about it is just phenomenal, first class. And and I've been around some nice real estate, putting garage. We're
have you
not
seen some-
choosy. We put garage doors in. Whether it's a $69 house that is getting flipped,
Right.
or
or
a
a-
Mac mansion.
Or a 10,000 square foot barn house by Mount Vernon High
Exactly.
School.
We're not choosy. Yeah, we're not choosy. But yeah, it is. Whoever were to buy it, they would not be disappointed with anything.
No,
about
they
it.
would not be
Everything is at
disappointed.
the highest level.
I have a feeling it'll end up like when Forrest bought Conseco's place, Steve Hilbert's.
Yeah.
It'll end up being a corporate
Yeah.
retreat type purchase, but
Yeah.
amazing property.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I know he's starting a family and got a little one coming, and that the house is. It's so big, and there's so much staff that comes in and out. I think it makes it kind of difficult to have.
Wait, you can't have a baby crawl into the
Yeah.
creek and drown.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a
Yeah.
creek
bad.
that runs through the house.
I did not see that in the pictures, actually.
No, isn't there?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like in a Bass Pro Shop.
I've seen
There's
the
tank.
gigantic aquarium.
Yeah, well, that-
reminds
Yeah,
me
but
that
of
is
that
a-
feeds
Pro
into
Shop.
a creek that
Oh,
has a
okay.
bridge
Runs
you
through
can
like
walk over.
Well,
entryway.
okay.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've seen the pictures, but it's pretty impressive.
Pretty phenomenal.
Lots to take
I don't
care
know
of.
that I could sleep in there because you'd hear the water running all the time.
Yeah.
You'd end up
Well, some
peeing
people like that
pee
sound.
the bed. Thanks for doing this with me. I appreciate you coming out here, and you've been a great friend for a long time, and we have a bunch of fun together, and I just appreciate having you.
Absolutely, man. I really appreciate you having me out, and I think it's cool what you guys are doing with the podcast. A lot of fun. Explores our vocations and then our recreation with a few drinks here and there. So a lot of fun there.
Only a
light
few.
format, but good information. You brought the heavy hitting with the stats there and the revised.
Yeah, he did.
Revised stats. It doesn't sound too good from where I stand.
Well, we'll just have to kind of stay on this little roller coaster we call life and see what happens. That, like your job, there's a lot of ups and downs, but we always
So
make
there
it through.
is.
Yeah, I mean, that all sounds horrible and grim and everything, but at the end of the day, I mean, I got a tiny little company. All our companies are just a minuscule micro spot in this economy, and
That's right.
all you got to do is plow ahead and plow your own field of ground, and you'll be fine.
In saying that, it's about answering your phone, giving great service, and actually the golden rule of doing for other people what you would want done for you.
Absolutely.
Always providing grade A service and going just 1 mile ahead, just that extra step.
Yeah.
And you don't have to worry about what happens with the economy as a business owner. Honestly.
For sure.
And honestly, as an employee too, if you're the guy that your boss knows you because you work harder than everybody else, you'll keep your job when everybody else gets laid off. So
Absolutely.
there's a little nugget in kissing a little ass sometimes.
Nuggets, baby. This is gold.
Golden.
All right. If you need garage door service, contact Brad.
The phone number will be right
Phone
down
number
there.
and contact information right here. Real estate help, contact me. Lending help, mortgage help, refinancing help.
They're coming soon, folks. Refinances are coming soon. Don't do it now. It's too early. It's like buying NVIDIA stock today. That's a dumb move. But refinancing in the future is going to happen. We'll tell you right here on the show.
We shall.
It'll be live breaking news.
On a recorded episode. Thanks for watching. See you
Cheers.
next time on Real Estate Makes Us Drink. Cheers, everybody.